YouTubers, it's Audra from the Kurt's Corner, and today I have a super cute and fun craft for you. Teddy bear ears! Seriously, y'all, how adorable are these? These would make a great Halloween costume addition for you or for your kids. You could use them if you're a photographer for newborn photo shoots or just everyday dress-up fun with your kids. Whatever you choose to do with them, they're sure to be a hit. And I've actually already gone ahead and made a few pairs, so you're not just limited to teddy bear ears. You could be a little gray mouse or an adorable little fox. The options are endless. You could make any animal that you want. You could even make pig ears, little pink pig ears, or you could make panda ears. Really, it is totally up to you and whatever your imagination can come up with. So I have found that it is best to make these animal ears with a thicker yarn. So some of the yarn that I have used, so you saw this in my second pair of ears, so for the little mouse ears I used the Lions brand Wool Ease Thick and Quick, and this is in sandstone, so it's a little mix of all the different colors. It's really, really pretty. And then I've also used Lions brand Wool Ease Thick and Quick, and this one is in gemstone. So this is a brown color, and this is in the first pair of ears that I showed you, the teddy bear ears. So this is really fast and a really simple craft. I've already showed you how to finger knit in my previous videos, so I'm going to show you again quickly how to do that, and you can be on your way to making your very own animal ears. So be sure, as always, to check out my amazing sponsors, Lion Brand Yarn, at lionbrand.com, and grab some of this size 6 super bulky Wool Ease Thick and Quick, and you will be ready to make your own animal ears. For this project, you will need yarn, hot glue, and a pair of scissors. So the first step is to cast on, and we're going to start by taking about 12 inches of yarn, and that is going to become our tail, which is going to be used to tie around our head when we're finished. So take that tail and you're going to place it between your thumb and your pointer finger, and we're going to go in front of our pointer finger, behind our middle finger, in front of our ring, and behind our pinky. And we're going to alternate going back and forth between our fingers until we have done that twice, and we're back to where we started with 3 rows. So 1, 2, and 3. So you're going to need basically 2 stitches or 2 pieces of yarn on each finger. You're going to take the bottom loop on each finger and you're going to pull it over the top loop on each finger, making sure that you keep that top loop on each finger. And then for our initial step, we're going to take the tail, we're going to pull that and put it behind our pointer finger. So now we have cast it on, and we have 1 stitch on each finger, and we're going to take the working yarn and we're going to go in front of and behind, rotating down our fingers and back again. You're always going to want to start with your pinky when lifting the loops over. So again, come back to your pinky, take that bottom loop and drop it over the top one. Be sure not to drop the top stitch off of your finger. And make sure you're not doing it too tight, otherwise you'll have a problem getting it over each finger. So we're going to continue stitching, finger knitting, on each finger until we have the desired length for our headband. And we're just going to continue doing that until we've reached the length. So the length is going to vary depending upon if you're making it for a child or an adult, but I'll give you the measurement from when I was wearing them in the beginning of the video, which I did end up putting on my son, who is only 6 months old, and it fit him perfectly fine. So it's kind of stretchy. The yarn is stretchy, so it fits multiple sizes of noggins. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing that until I've got a few stitches on there, and then I'll show you how to bind off. Okay, so for the sake of keeping the video short, I just did a few rows here, and I'm going to show you how to bind off, and then I'll show you how to assemble the ears. You're going to bind off by taking the loop that is on your pinky and transferring it over to your ring finger, and then dropping the stitch over that, and continuing that same process until you have reached your pointer finger. So we just brought each loop over from our finger and then pulled the bottom loop over the top one. And we're left with 1 loop on our pointer finger, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and then cut the working yarn that you've been looping around your fingers cut it kind of long because this is what is going to become your tie that goes around your head. And then we're going to slip that loop off of our finger and take the working yarn, go through the loop, and then simply pull tight. And that's going to create a knot at the end of your work, which is then going to be used to tie the ears around your head. So that is how you bind off, and then the other end where the tail was, you're just going to take that end again and pull that one until it creates a tight knot. And now you have a knot at both ends and you are finished. All right, so now that we have binded off, we have our finished work. So here's a piece that I've already made to show you for the video. So this ended up being about 2 feet long, 24 inches total, and that is the knitted portion, not including the tie portion that's going to go around your head. So we're going to leave those pieces long so that we can tie them. Those are our tails, and then here is our actual work. So we're going to take that now and we're going to create loops. So any which way, you're going to create loops like this. The smaller they are, though, the better they will hold up on your head. They won't flop over. So just make sure that both sides are of equal length. And when I say sides, I mean like here, the part that would go around your head. So I've got my 2 ears and my 2 equal sides. And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to hold one of them. I'm going to take my yarn and just cut a long portion. I'm going to cut a long portion of my yarn off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop that through, and I am going to tie it off. So just tie a small knot, if I can get my fingers around it. Tie a small knot there to keep it in place. And we'll cut that later. And then you're going to just take that and wrap it around several times, going through the ear and around. Until we've secured it in place. Okay. So now I have basically created my first ear, and what I'm going to do is take the portion of yarn that's left, and I'm just going to loop it through one of the other pieces that I have tied around. Create a loop, and then I'm just going to pull that until it creates a knot, and then I will do another knot again just to make sure that it's secure, which you can do that. I don't have to show you how to make 2 knots. And then you're just going to want to cut that off, and you can use hot glue if you'd like to hide it, or just do what I do and tuck it under one of the other pieces of yarn so that it's hidden, and then flip it back over and you have your first ear. So all we're going to do is repeat that on the same, or on the opposite side, and make sure that both of the sides are of equal length, and you have your basic form for your ears. Okay, for this next step, you're going to need to create a smaller portion of finger knitting. You're going to have to create 3 finger knittings in total, one being 2 feet in length, which is the part that's going to go around your head, and that's just, again, 2 feet of the actual finger knitting, and then 2 smaller pieces that are about 5 to 6 maybe inches long, like this one. This one's maybe about 4, it's smaller. It's just depending on how big your ears are. And what we're going to want to do is roll that up. So we're going to take our hot glue gun. This will focus. We're going to want to take our hot glue gun and place a little hot glue on the finger knitting. We're basically just going to roll this up. And I've cut off the working yarn, the tails from each of the ends. We're just going to roll that up into a small little ball, kind of looks like a jelly roll. And we're going to hold that in place so that it can dry for a second. Kind of squish it together. And that's just to hold it together for us. And then we're going to take our ears and we're going to fit that right there in the center. So that's what we're trying to accomplish, is creating the center portion for our ears. So now we're going to take our little roll that we've created, put some more hot glue on it, and then place that right inside the ear. And then just hold that tight so that it adheres, and just go all the way around. Make sure that you hide the hot glue. And just do that until it is fully attached all the way around. And I'm sure that you could easily sew this together. So you could probably take another piece of yarn and stitch it back and forth in and out. I just like using the hot glue. I feel like it's easier and takes less time. Okay. So after we have held that in place, just kind of squish it together and hide all the hot glue, and you're done. So I probably could have made this piece a little bit bigger to fill up the ear. Again, it was small. It was like maybe a 4-inch section of finger knitting, and you probably need about 5 or 6 inches. But that is what it looks like when it's finished and all glued in. Okay, so this is another one that I had previously made before I started the video. I used a contrasting color for these ears, so this one looks a little bit different, but this is what it looks like when it's finished. So we created our first finger knitting that was, again, 2 feet in length, and then we created our loops for our ears, and we looped that around and tied it off until it was secure. And then we created 2 additional pieces of finger knitting to go in the center, and those were each about 5 to 6 inches in length. Cut off each of the tails, roll them up kind of like a little jelly roll, and hot glue them together, and then just stick them in the ear and hot glue them again to the ear. So it holds up really nicely. Again, you could probably stitch it if you wanted to versus using the hot glue. I just like using hot glue. I feel like it's fast and easy. And here again is the tails that we had left. We created the knots at the end, and it just created some ties for us to tie it around our head. And that is our finished product. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel so that you can check out all of my crafts as I post them. Be sure to visit my sponsors, Lion Brand Yarn, at lionbrand.com, and grab some yarn and start making some animal ears. And if you do, be sure to send me a tweet or shout me out on Instagram. I'd love to see your creations and give you a shout out in return. All of my social media handles are listed down below, and I will see you next time.